Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Racha, Kodash, and double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, Oma Yusoko Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beating with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai willing. This lesson is edifying and informative. My name is Quan Wath, and in the news from the RT, U.S. annexation of Greenland, quote, will happen, end quote, and NATO could get involved. Trump. In another similar headline, Trump's claims the Greenland could spark war between NATO countries, Danish MP. In regards to the first article, the U.S. has quite a few soldiers in Arctic Island, and maybe you'll see more, the president has said. President Donald Trump has told NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte that he would like the U.S.-led military bloc to assist Washington in securing Greenland following talks in the Oval Office on Thursday. Trump initially proposed buying the Danish autonomous territory during his first term in 2019 and has reignited the discussion after returning to office. Speaking at a recent joint session of Congress, he stated that the U.S. will secure the island one way or the other, which is a very bold and threatening statement to make, especially to an ally. Asked by journalists on Thursday about his, quote, vision on the potential annexation of Greenland, end quote, Trump stated, "I think it will happen. I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man who could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security," the U.S. president said. Turning to the NATO chief, "We have a lot of our favorite players cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful. We'll be talking to you." You read more. U.S. to get Greenland one way or the other, Trump. Rutte downplayed the proposal, saying with a chuckle that when it comes to Greenland, joining or not joining the U.S., I would leave that outside this discussion because I don't or do not want to drag NATO into that. However, the NATO chief went on to say that Trump is totally right in highlighting security concerns in the high north and the Arctic, given the increased presence of Russia and China in the region. He highlighted the importance of Western nations working together on this under the U.S. leadership. In other words, Western nations, including other allies that are allied with the Greenland are expected to work with the U.S. leadership together in regards to the U.S. annexing Greenland, which Greenland opposes. And this will obviously create an infighting between allies, which will eventually, among many other reasons and causes, will lead to America's allies further hating and eventually showing the world that hatred for the whore, which is America, Babylon the Great. So this is just another ingredient that will be used by the Lord to throw into the pot, so to speak, because the Lord is cooking. Lord is cooking. Trump reiterated that the U.S. really needs Greenland for both national and international security. I think that's why NATO might have to get involved in a way. So basically, the U.S. and the rest of its European allies against a single European ally, that is Greenland.
And Denmark is not able to do that. You know, Denmark's very far away and really has nothing to do. What happens? A boat landed there 200 years ago or something, and they say they have rights to it. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is, actually. But we've been dealing with Denmark. We've been dealing with Greenland, and we have to do it. We really need it for national security. I think that's why NATO might have to get involved in a way, because we really need Greenland for national security. It's very important. You know, we have a couple of bases on Greenland already, and we have quite a few soldiers, and maybe you'll see more and more soldiers go there. I don't know. What do you think about that, Pete? So don't answer that, Pete. Don't answer that question. But we have bases, and we have quite a few soldiers on Greenland.
Other nations looking at this might say that the U.S. and its allies would be hypocrites to get into a conflict with another ally and potentially annex it. After all, they had opposed Russia and its invasion into Ukraine. So some may say this is a hypocritical thing, but nonetheless, these are all wars and rumors of wars and, you know, things being turned up for the Lord's purpose. It says the president noted that the U.S. already has a couple of bases and hundreds of soldiers in Greenland, suggesting that maybe you'll see more and more soldiers go there. Read more. Here's why Trump really wants to get his hands on Greenland and Canada. And you, brothers and few sisters, can read that at your leisure. What do you think about that, Pete? Trump said, addressing Pentagon Chief Peter Hegseth with a smile. Don't answer that, Pete. Don't answer that question. But we have bases, and we have quite a few soldiers in Greenland. Trump's statements drew a quick response from Greenland. The outgoing Prime Minister of the Danish Autonomous Territory, Mute Ejdi, if I pronounce his name correctly, or Ejdi, took to Facebook to criticize the U.S. president for entertaining the thought of annexing us. Enough is enough. Greenland has long been of strategic importance due to its location and untapped mineral resources, covering 2.2 million square kilometers and home to a population of around 60,000. It also hosts a key U.S. military base at Thule. This concludes the first article. Now let's move on to the next article, which directly relates to the first. Again, the title of the second article reads, Trump's claim to Greenland could spark war between NATO countries, Danish MP. The U.S. president has reiterated his intention to annex the Arctic island from Denmark. U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to take over Greenland could lead to a war between the U.S. and Denmark. Danish MP and Defense Committee Chairman Rasmus Jarlov has warned. The lawmaker insisted that ceding the Arctic island to the U.S. remains out of the question for Copenhagen, if I pronounced that correctly. Jarlov's remarks came from Thursday's meeting during Trump and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, where the former reaffirmed his intention for Greenland to become part of the U.S. Asked about his vision on the potential annexation of Greenland, Trump responded, I think it will happen, suggesting NATO could be instrumental in the process. While Rutte stopped short of endorsing the idea, he acknowledged that Trump was totally right to raise concerns about security in the Arctic, citing the growing presence of Russia and China in the region. In a post on X on Friday, Jarlov said Denmark does not appreciate the Secretary General of NATO joking with Trump about Greenland like this. It would mean war between two NATO countries. After all, as we speak, Greenland is a part of NATO. So this would be an infighting, and according to NATO's article, an attack on an ally, on one ally, is a direct threat, a direct attack on the others, resulting in the others coming together to provide aid to that ally, that was attacked. So obviously, this would create an infighting, and in the end, who do you think the European allies would blame? That's right, the whore. And according to Revelation, the 17th chapter, the beast, which is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, shall hate the whore. And again, this is just another ingredient that will be added to the pot, mixed with a multitude of reasons as to why the beast shall hate the whore. Eat her flesh and burn her with fire. It would mean war between two NATO countries, he warned, reiterating that Denmark has repeatedly refused to consider relinquishing control of Greenland. In a separate post, he wrote that joining the U.S. remains completely out of the question for Greenland, and that such a scenario can only be achieved if the U.S. invades militarily. Greenland has just voted against immediate independence from Denmark and does not want to be American ever, Jarlov added, referring to the center-right Democrats' victory in Greenland's parliamentary elections this week. The party has sharply criticized Trump's ambitions, favoring economic expansion and a gradual approach to independence. Greenland has long been of strategic interest due to its location and untapped mineral resources. The former Danish colony has granted self-rule in 1979, so it was granted self-rule in 1979, but remains under Copenhagen's control in matters of foreign policy, defense, and monetary policy. Trump first proposed buying Greenland in 2019, but the idea was swiftly rejected by both Denmark and Greenland's government. Since returning to office, he has reignited discussions on U.S. ownership, calling the island crucial to American security and economic interests. While the election results suggest Greenland remains opposed to Trump's plans, experts warn the situation could change. Although the Democrats won the most seats, they did not secure a majority and will need to form a coalition. The second largest party, Nelly Rock, has signaled openness to closer ties with the U.S. However, some analysts believe that the Democrats may seek alliance with smaller parties that also advocate a gradual path to independence. And this concludes the article. And so this is the book of Revelation, chapter 17. This is just another example as to why, among many other reasons, America's allies will begin to see her in a negative light and begin to hate her. Revelation chapter 17, verse 16, and the 10 horns, which the 10 horns represents the European Union, formerly known as the EEC, European Economic Community, which thou sawest upon the beast, which the beast is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, European Union, with America being an extension of that empire. Thee shall hate the whore. The whore is America, Babylon the Great, and shall make her desolate. How? By way of thermonuclear fire, according to biblical prophecy. Okay, through shooting their arrows upon the whore, and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And these things are prophesied to happen throughout the whole scripture. Okay, so with that, I'll conclude the lesson. Lord's willing, I'll come back with another lesson later on, Lord's willing, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters in the next, Lord's willing. Shalom.